Welcome to the Ejaries Stotter podcast. I'm Stephen. Over the next 10 episodes, we're going to work through everything tenants and landlords in Dubai need to know about Ejaries, what they are, how they're registered, where they go wrong, and what depends on them. This first episode is the foundational one. Before we get into procedures and documents, we need to answer the basic question: what are Ejaries in Dubai, and why does the system exist? The short answer, and why it isn't enough. Ask most people in Dubai what Ejaries are, and you'll hear something like the registration of a tenancy contract. That's true but incomplete. Ejaries are the official record of rental tenancies in Dubai. The system is operated by RERA under the Dubai Land Department. Once a tenancy is registered, the Ejari system issues a certificate. But Ejaries are not the tenancy contract itself. The tenancy contract creates the rental agreement between landlord and tenant. Ejari registration is the process of placing that agreement on the public record. Those are two different things. A lot of practical issues begin when people treat them as the same thing. Why the distinction matters. Think about buying property in Dubai. The sale agreement creates the transaction between buyer and seller. Ownership transfers only when the Dubai Land Department records the transfer on the title deed. Ejaries work similarly for rentals. The tenancy contract creates the relationship. Registering Ejari records it officially. The distinction matters because almost everything Ejaries are used for comes after registration, not from the contract alone. An unregistered tenancy contract may still bind the landlord and tenant, but it doesn't unlock access to the wider system. What is RERA's unlock? When setting up DEWA, they ask for your Ejari certificate, not just the tenancy contract. The same applies to residency visa renewals, family sponsorship applications, school enrollments, telecom and utility services, government procedures requiring address verification. The pattern is consistent. Ejaries are treated as proof that you legally occupy the property. Without registration, third parties often will not rely on the tenancy contract alone. The contract proves you and the landlord agreed. Ejari proves the government recognizes that agreement. The dispute's ad, most people discover too late. Dubai has a dedicated tribunal for landlord-tenant disputes called the Rental Dispute Settlement Center. It handles eviction disputes, rent increases, deposit disputes, and tenancy breaches. The center will generally not hear a case unless the tenancy is registered through Ejari. That means without Ejari registration, tenants may struggle to challenge unlawful eviction, recover security deposits, contest improper rent increases, enforce tenancy rights properly. Ejaries are not just an administrative step. They are part of the legal infrastructure that supports tenant protections in Dubai. Whose responsibility is it? Legally, the landlord is responsible for registering Ejari. In practice, both parties depend on it being completed properly. In professionally managed properties, registration is often handled as part of the move-in process. Smaller landlords may expect tenants or brokers to coordinate it instead. Problems usually arise when both sides assume the other has already handled the registration. What the certificate contains. The Ejari certificate is a one-page document issued primarily in Arabic with key English details. It records landlord and tenant details, property information, annual rent amount, contract duration, registration date, unique Ejari contract number. That Ejari number is what government systems use to verify the tenancy. The printed certificate is mainly for reference. The registration record itself is what matters. The annual renewal cycle. Most residential tenancies in Dubai are yearly contracts, and Ejaries follow the same cycle. When the tenancy renews, the Ejari registration must also be updated. Any changes to rent, contract duration, or occupancy details should be reflected in the renewal. Ejari registration is therefore not a one-time task. It's an ongoing part of maintaining a tenancy properly. Why the system exists. Before Ejaries, Dubai's rental market operated with very little central oversight. Tenancies existed privately, making dispute handling, rent regulation, and market transparency far more difficult. Ejaries created a centralized system that records rental relationships formally and links them to the wider legal and administrative infrastructure of Dubai. That system now supports rent increase controls, rental dispute procedures, utility activation, visa and address verification, market transparency and regulation. For individual tenants, Ejari may feel like an administrative step, but for Dubai's rental system as a whole, it forms the infrastructure behind many of the protections and procedures people rely on every day. What to take from this episode? 3 key points. First, Ejaries are not the tenancy contract. They are the registration of the contract. Second, almost every major tenancy-related service in Dubai depends on Ejari registration, not just the signed contract itself. Third, while landlords are legally responsible for registration, both landlords and tenants should treat it as essential from the beginning of the tenancy. Delays usually create avoidable problems later. In the next episode, we'll walk through the registration process itself, where it's done, what documents are needed, and how long it usually takes. Thanks for listening. The full transcript is available at transcript.a. For Ejari registration support, ejaries.a is the operational service.